Today's Democratic Party does not believe in our constitutionally protected right to freedom of religion. Today's Democratic Party does not believe in our constitutionally protected right to bear arms.
Well, that was Tulsi Gabbard from her video announcing that she was leaving the Democratic Party and encouraging others to do so. In this video, she came out strongly in support of the two issues that we focus upon here, which would be the First Amendment right to freedom of religion and the Second Amendment right to keep and bear arms. The latter certainly is a change for her, as she has in the past advocated for assault weapons bans and magazine capacity limits, if not some other measures that we would consider lesser but still offensive. However, now, perhaps because she's no longer under the thumb of the Democratic Party, she is unquestionably and unreservedly coming out in support of our Second Amendment rights. So I would like to just present what she has in her video, and let's give her a chance. So first is her video on support of the First Amendment right to freedom of religion. We'll take a look at that, maybe make a few comments afterwards, and then we'll proceed on to her Second Amendment video. They're both about 2.5 minutes long.
Today's Democratic Party does not believe in our constitutionally protected right to freedom of religion. Now, the Constitution recognizes that our freedom comes from God, not the government, not any government. Unfortunately, Democratic Party leaders reject this truth and are hostile toward people of faith and spirituality and actively try to undermine our religious freedom. Now, during the 2020 Democratic National Convention, they chose to omit the words "under God" from our Pledge of Allegiance. We've seen over years how high-profile Democratic leaders openly mock or discriminate against people of faith, especially Christians. And President Obama once ridiculed Americans for clinging to their guns and religion. Vice President Kamala Harris, back when she was a U.S. Senator in 2018, she remarked that being a member of the Knights of Columbus, a Catholic charity organization, a nonprofit, disqualified Brian Boucher from serving as a federal judge. Senator Dianne Feinstein derided now Supreme Court Justice Amy Coney Barrett, who happens to be a devout Catholic, during her Senate confirmation hearing, stating, quote, "The dogma lives loudly within you." Now let's remember the Constitution. Article 6, Section 3 says, and I quote, "No religious test shall ever be required as a qualification to any office or public trust under the United States." Now, how is it that the Democratic Party of today doesn't seem to know this? That the Democratic Party of today has forgotten that freedom of religion does not mean freedom from religion. Our government must respect every American's deeply personal relationship with God and our freedom to express that and practice that faith without fear of state-sponsored reprisal or punishment, censorship, or discrimination. Now, whether you believe in God or not isn't the point here. The point is that any political party that is trying to erase the presence of God from every facet of public life and is hostile towards those who choose to worship God cannot be trusted to protect our inalienable God-given rights enshrined in the Constitution, and therefore should not be in power.
I don't know what more anyone who believes in freedom of religion, whether you yourself are religious or not, but you believe in freedom of religion, I don't know what more anyone could ask from any politician than what she just said. I mean, she was just unapologetic in her support for our religious freedom rights. But if you think that was amazing, let's listen to what she says about the Second Amendment and our right to keep and bear arms.
Today's Democratic Party does not believe in our constitutionally protected right to bear arms. Now, our founders passed the Second Amendment out of a recognition that every one of us as Americans has a right to defend ourselves and our loved ones and to serve as a check on a tyrannical government seeking to take away our God-given freedoms. The Democratic Party's hatred of the Second Amendment and their increasing authoritarian instincts poses a serious threat to our freedoms. Hell yes, we're going to take your AR-15, your AK-47, said Beto O'Rourke at a debate when he was running for president. That's just one example of many that display this hatred for the Second Amendment by leading Democrats in this country. Our founders intentionally passed the Second Amendment right after the First Amendment. The majority ruling from the recent Supreme Court striking down New York's law that barred people from concealed carry firearms really summarized clearly why Democrats are so wrong to try to take away our Second Amendment rights. And I want to read this statement from that ruling because it really says it so clearly. Just as we do not need to seek a permit to stand on the street corner and exercise our right to free speech, we shouldn't have to seek permission for a law-abiding citizen to carry a firearm. Now, we as a society don't get to pick and choose which of our rights in the Constitution are more worthy of protecting than another. End of quote. So protecting our freedom to defend ourselves and those we love, and protecting our rights and freedoms enshrined in the Constitution against a tyrannical power is exactly why we must ensure that our right to bear arms shall not be infringed.
So let me summarize what you just heard. Tulsi Gabbard now supports the Bruen decision. I mean, she's 100% behind that. She also clearly supports constitutional carry. When she says you don't have to have a government permission slip, that's what she's talking about. And I think by extension, she's also no longer in favor of the assault weapons ban and magazine limits. I don't think you can support the Bruen decision and say the things she just said and then turn around and take those positions. But we'll see what she ultimately says about those later on. But I think it's tremendous. Now, what do you think about it? Do you think she's sincere, or do you think she's just playing us? Let's discuss this in the comments. Love to hear from you. Also, please, please, please consider liking, commenting, and subscribing so that we can continue to build the channel, the page, and all of our social media efforts. Like, comment, and subscribe. And that's all I have for you today. I hope you have a wonderful weekend, and God bless.